Hey guys, Roy from A&S Gear. Get out your gun because we're going to do some upgrades today. Okay, so we have got in front of us today the remote line adapter for the 8.1, 9.1 FSC setup. So that's what's in our little box right here. We're going to go ahead and put that into this new tan FSC. We're going to have a couple parts inside here that we're going to use. Let's see, let me move the chair over a little bit, so a little more in the front here. So first thing we're going to need, or what we've got here, is this back cap. We're going to be replacing the back cap that is on here for a threaded version, which is here. We've got the adapter. Now this is going to screw into the back of our plate right here. You will need to either Loctite or Teflon this in, otherwise it will leak. You can't just thread this in like that and expect it to seal and be okay. It will not work that way. So we're going to need to Teflon or Loctite this in, which is something that you will need to do. We have the replacement stem. So this is going to replace the stem that would normally come down and line up with our magazine to release the gas coming from the magazine up into the gun. Since we're going to be running the gas through the back of the gun, we no longer need gas to come in from the magazine. The one that's in the gun right now has a hole in it so that the gas can flow through it and into the gun. We don't need that anymore, so we're going to replace it with a solid version like that. A couple screws to hold the plate onto the gun. We've got an O-ring, one black O-ring, which is going to go onto the new stem, the new valve stem. Goes on there like that. One O-ring for inside here, this white O-ring that is going to go on the back side right there. And then one little set screw, which is going to help keep the O-ring in its proper place when we go to mount it up to the gun. So when we do put this together, something that I have gotten wrong in the past is it's going to set up like this on the back side right there. So if you're looking at it from the back, the lower right hand corner is where this needs to go. Not like this. It goes like this on the back side there. All right. Cool. Well, let's get to it. So the first thing we need to do is clear some space real quick. So let's kind of move some pieces out of the way. And let's move that over there. Let's get this disassembled. So we have the marker with no magazine in it. We're going to remove the barrel out. We don't need the barrel. And then we are going to separate the upper and lower pieces from each other. So let's go ahead and do that. You're going to remove the rear frame screw, the front frame screw, and the two side frame screws. Barrel spring, get that out of there too. Take this back one off. There, front one. There. And then the two side ones are a different Allen key. So we need that one and this one. Now, depending on what model gun you're disassembling and taking apart, if you're doing it on an 8.1 or a 9.1, there is another step where you need to knock the post out that holds the trigger in place. But seeing as though on the compact that we have here, it's all part of this assembly up here, it can stay in there for now. So first things first, let's replace the valve or the pin, the valve pin thing there. It's got the hole in it. So we're going to use our small adjustable wrench, I believe, or a 4mm wrench. You can use also, I think it's 4mm. But whatever you need to do to get that off of there. And it's very important that you don't over tighten this when you put it together. If you over tighten this back on, it's possible to snap the bottom thread off, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to replace that with the sealed version. And we are just going to snug I'm not overdoing it. That O-ring is there to seal up the bottom so that we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to put a lot of pressure on it, I guess. All right, so let's throw an Allen key and then remove this part back here. So we're going to pull the regulator firing assembly off the back of the gun. So we removed this screw from the front of the assembly, and then we can lift this piece up. Now, when we go to the next step, we want to replace this piece right here. Okay, now if we look at it, it's like a O-ring that is solid in the middle. It's more of like a plug than anything. So we're going to pull that out, and you can see it right there. It's a solid centered O-ring because they don't want gas flowing through this port when it's using the magazine gas style. When we convert it to gas coming through the back, they need to have air come through here. So we need to switch that over to this other O-ring that's in our kit, this black one with the hole in it. That's going to go on there now. All right, so now we can put this back together. But there's something very important that we need to do. And this is this goes for all first strike setups, like it's the 881, 991, all those guns, the FSC. Before you put this back on here and tighten it down, you must take the bolt and slide it forward. So all I did was, I don't know if I can pull that back again. That was this way. I just got it on the back of it, pushed it forward, and that's where it's going to sit. All right. Now, see that little O-ring fell off there? That just holds this trigger in place right there. Just dropped it down in there. This keeps that pin from wanting to fall off of there. All right, so now we've got our replacement O-ring on. One thing, don't lose this. If you ever want to convert back to magazine style, you need to replace that O-ring back in. We've got our bolt forward. We can swing this over the top here and go ahead and reinstall. Make sure that it is flush and proper all the way around. Take our screw, put it back in. If you don't pull that bolt forward, when you go to shoot the gun, it won't cycle. You'll pull the trigger and nothing will happen when you just reset the firing assembly back on without moving the bolt forward. When we push that bolt back with the barrel, when this goes back in, it will lock that bolt back and get the gun ready to fire. And if we don't do that, the gun will you'll pull the trigger, nothing will happen. All right, so now let's take this cap off the back. Oops. We need this one. We're going to pull that off. And then we're going to use the new one. Put that on. Remember, this one is threaded so that we can attach this to the assembly. All right, so now we've got two things that we need to work with here. So we need to pull out, it's hard to see in here, to make sure I'm getting in the right spot here. We're going to thread into this. And you can see I started to thread that in, and it stopped. We started to put this on and start threading in here. It's going to stop. So what we need to do is we need to remove the set screw that's inside there. So we'll do that. Let me make sure I've got the right Allen key. We'll go ahead and do that. All right. So let's pull that out of there. And again, do not lose this, because when it comes time to potentially go back to the other way, you don't want that to be missing. All right, now we're going to do the same thing for this side over here. We're going to remove this one. And if you look at this one, see, this one is solid right here, right? It's just a set screw that goes into the bottom and plugs that hole up. So we're going to put that to the side, and we're going to use this one, which is hollow. It has a hole in it, all right? So what this does, we're going to put this screw in here, into this hole on the side, and we're going to put it just below flush so that this O-ring can sit against it. So this O-ring is going to sit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to balance that on there. Probably not. It does not going to want to do that. Kind of like that, all right? And what this does is this set screw keeps this O-ring from collapsing into the hole. But if you have that set screw set too high, it won't seal properly. So we're going to take it and we're going to put it in just about half the distance down from flush so that this O-ring can sit and fit down into that groove, but not go down so far that it will collapse or deform, and not so high that it will not seal properly. So it's going to go in there like that. Now I typically try to get them onto this side. Whatever side I can fit that on, it seems like it's going to seal up the best, like that. For me, it usually fits a little bit better into this groove than on that one, but however you need to do it to get that to seal up right there. All right, so we put a little bit of grease on this too, just to make a nice good seal, and then we would move on to the next step, which is attaching the back block. All right, so from here we can take this and go ahead and thread this on. Now I'm going to line this up the best I can. That looks good right there. I'm going to put the main screw in, so that's going to go through the top right there. I'm going to tighten this down. And by tightening that down, that's really going to press this O-ring that we just put in there. It's really going to press it into its home. I'm going to take the other one, slide it in there. This one. And put that one on there. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. Install this. Remember, Loctite or Teflon this into place so that it does not leak. Now we can go ahead and put this back together. Two sides. And then let's put our spring in and our barrel. And there we have it. Remember, bottom right-hand side. If you're looking at the gun from behind, bottom right-hand side. Right now, this is on the, to me, it's on the left-hand side. To you guys looking at it like this, it's on the right-hand side. But if you're looking at the back, bottom right-hand side, the install is not hard. You just have to be comfortable with taking your gun apart. And again, this will go for the FSC. It also goes for the 8.1, 9.1 if you're doing the gas-through setups on them. Depending on what version gun you have, might be slightly different, but overall the parts are the same. As far as what you are putting in and taking out, just how you get there might be a little different. So thanks for watching. Get your products at ansgear.com.